Recording in progress.
Recording in progress.
The husband just walked by and made some weird noises.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. We literally just hit record. I just thought I was imagining it at first. Well, everybody,
Hello.
hello and welcome to our what?
Whoops.
Come at me. Harvey just made like such a face as he walked by. So this is our first remote podcast episode that's going to go live, I think, although we did just actually record for the first time remotely with some special guests yesterday. But this is our first solo, intimate, just spoons and Wheezy remote podcast.
So true.
So
how do we like
true.
it? I don't know. I kind of like my little microphone. I think it's cute.
I like our mics too. We do need pop filters, but Best Buy had none. They were like, we have 1 million mics to choose from. And I was like, great. Do you have any accoutrements to go with these microphones? And they were like, no, you idiot. Why would we have those? So
no, you idiot. Leave the store.
Like, leave the store.
TikTok Siri voice. Leave the store.
That just like give us the mics and kick us out. Somebody, then actually the guy who checked me out at Best Buy was really nice. He was like, stocking up, because I picked up both of our mics at the same time.
Right.
And I was like, yes, I'm stocking up on professional microphones. What? He was like, yes, I did a podcast once, but I quit because it was a lot of work. And I was like, yeah, I'm thinking about starting extra podcasts, just additional podcasts, which is true, everybody. But stay tuned for more on that later.
What?
Yes, I have
Are
some
you?
other. I am thinking. So, okay, I'll just go ahead and say,
just tell me.
Carissa. So you know Carissa, who guested with us on Court of Thorns and Roses, which
yes.
Went live pretty recently. We're thinking to do like a much shorter form, way more chill, like writing based podcast.
Cool.
Now that we're so good at remote recording, so we're thinking to maybe do that. Which I would love to eventually just do podcasts, which means I probably need to do more than one podcast. So, anyways,
so cool.
Stay ready for more details. When
I am ready for more details.
But for now, everybody look at my beautiful cup. It's my Pretentious book cup mug.
It is so cute. I'm gonna buy myself one.
It is
then
so
I can
cute.
have both of them.
Yes, exactly.
I'm
just gonna get everything off the store eventually. Tea, or is it?
I didn't think about getting anything to drink.
You need to go get something to drink.
Well, I'm fine right now, but it's just like a big ordeal now because there's like a desk thing on me with my notes and my phone
you
and
have
my
everything
pen
balanced on your lap
and 3 Cassandra Clare books.
Oh my gosh, I didn't realize this was all on your lap, but I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, because I didn't want to sit in the middle of the apartment because like Haley can't come out. But
I just told Javi he can come out and do whatever. So he, of course, walked by and made a fart noise immediately. And I was like, okay, maybe I should have clarified.
Also, like my background there isn't as cute. This way I have my
that's my bummer. I don't have a cute background. I was telling Javi, I was like, because my desk is attached to the kitchen counter. It is the kitchen counter. I can't move. I have nowhere else to go.
Like right behind you could get like bookshelf wallpaper.
I know. I was literally thinking.
Lewis quote.
I do have my C.S. Lewis quote, which was a gift from my darling friend Leela, and our cute little love seat that is not haunted. Everybody, not haunted. Neither is the antique sewing table. Not haunted. Javi has started this rumor among all of his guy friends that these 2 pieces of furniture are haunted.
No,
there's no sign of them being haunted, and they belonged to my family, so I know where they came from. Anyway, yeah,
like anything is old is haunted to him.
Yeah, I did light that candle back there for some ambiance, and also because whenever a candle is lit, everything just feels safe.
Yes, agreed. Yeah,
so
it feels better.
Yeah,
the vibes are better. Oh, man, I should light a candle.
You should definitely light a candle. This is so sad, honestly. You're just trapped. Let's do a 4-hour episode right now. No breaks.
I can't handle it.
Also, we have the ability to pause and restart recording, just so you know.
Oh, that's true.
I've done it, but it's a thing. There's a little pause button.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
My background is cute, but what I'm not showing you is that I am surrounded by piles of clean clothes that I have not put away. Just absolutely.
But they're clean clothes.
They are clean, but I do feel like a hoarder. and I need to.
For some reason, I
Fix
didn't
this
think you were going to
situation.
add the "der" on the end of that. We're just going to be like, I just feel like a whore.
I
And I
feel
was
like
like,
a
why?
I'm a clean clothes
Why?
whore.
You know, there are worse kinds of whores to be.
It's so true.
So true, I
Oh my God, I keep thinking about that clip from the Oregon Trail show. The
Oh, I'm so sorry. Whores. Is that out yet?
I'm sorry. Whores. Yeah, it's out. I haven't watched it yet.
Neither have
I
I.
have to watch that.
Nine Perfect Strangers is also out, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, which
Okay.
I
I
want to
have to
watch.
confess, I did watch the first 3 episodes. Sorry.
What? That's okay. I'll watch
Haley
them
really
too.
wanted to watch it, and then
That's
we
okay.
did watch them, but
It's
they're
okay.
coming out
Me
like
and the
every
rest of the pod
Wednesday.
will watch it without you.
No, we could watch. I mean, there's gonna be like many more, so
We'll just talk about it. Well, maybe for an extra, we need like a new paid extra Patreon episode. So maybe we'll just chat about it.
yeah, I already have opinions. So
Okay, cool. I have no opinions about anything. I'm so unopinionated, you know
yeah,
me.
you've never had an
Never had an
opinion
opinion.
in your life.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, everybody, this is That Pretentious Book Club.
Oh yeah, where we have many opinions.
Where we have many opinions. Some of them authorized, some of them truly not. Some of them we can back up, and some of them are just based on pure self-righteousness.
I think Emily Dickinson was a lesbian.
What do they pass or credit or something?
Full credit.
Participation.
Yeah.
Oh,
Actually,
so
that
good.
I do think that. Unrelated. Anyway.
The one who thinks that Emily Dickinson is a lesbian over there, that is Kendall Shaw, aka Dr. Spoons Palermo.
Hello.
Isn't she beautiful?
And-
Look at her cute little bandana.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, listeners, look at my bandana.
It's so cute. It matches the color of the pen she decided to use for her notes, which is yellow. And
Yellow.
because we know you can read yellow pen on white paper.
Yeah, you know,
so
it's really
easily.
easy to do
Super
that.
easy.
Over there, across from me on my computer screen is Ash. You may call her Wheezy because she has asthma.
It's true.
And look at her gorgeous yellow shirt.
Yeah, it is. That's true. It is yellow. This is one of the clothes that Hobby got me because he was like, you dress not good. He's so sweet about it. He was never like, how you dress is ugly, but he would sometimes, I'd put something on just because it's what was there. And I've said this before, I had like just never really had money to buy clothes. So I just had clothes I ended up with. A lot of my clothes were clothes you gave me as a kid that were yours, that were hand-me-downs. And I'm sure I still have some of them because I just,
Oh my God, I'd love to see that.
you can come look through my clothes with
I
me
do want
sometime. I
to.
bet I have some, but it was just all clothes I ended up with. So like one day I looked in the closet a few months ago and was like, did I choose any of these for myself?
Oh my God.
I don't think so. So I didn't. So then Howie was like, well, let's just get you some new clothes. And I was like, well, I don't even know like what style of clothes to get because I've never picked my own clothes really. I've just gone and bought what's cheap, what's there.
Yeah.
So like, I just haven't put a lot of thought into it. So this was he was on the phone with me looking through Tilly's because I like a lot of Tilly's stuff, and he picked this for me. So
it's like really cute and it has big Ash vibes. So.
It makes it sound like he's mean when I go, he didn't like my clothes. That's not what it was. He saw that I was sad about not having any like clothes of my own choosing. And he was
that
like,
story
let's
proves
fix it.
it's definitely not a mean thing he did.
Yeah, I think so. I have to clarify that. But I do remember like early in our dating, like we were like going out late and I was just like to go grab some food or something. So I was dressed in like indoor hang around clothes, real slouchy. Actually, I think this was after we escaped the flood and I had gone like to stay with him as we were going out to get food. So my clothes were also very limited. And so I was wearing these like way too big boots because they were the only ones I hadn't packed that were accessible when we left, and way too big. And this like skin tight, like mid thigh t-shirt dress that I didn't know was a t-shirt dress. We got it from Plato's Closet.
Yes, I remember that.
I was just, and like something else like really ratty, I don't remember. And he just like walked outside and like looked at me. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, your style's cute. Weird, but cute. And I was like, okay, thank you.
That was cute.
He's like, it's really cute, babe, but like, what is it? So nice.
I love that. What is it?
I love it. What is it?
Please explain. Why don't you tell me about this? That's like what you say when you can't tell what a child has drawn. And you're like,
tell me about it.
What is? Yeah. Instead of saying like, what is it? Like, tell me about this.
I feel like a hobby with a kid would be like, that looks stupid. Start over.
This sucks. I want you to know
This
that this
sucks. Like, who taught you how to draw? Yeah, it's so funny. Yeah, my train of thought just left. So I think we have a rapapa, a red pen point.
A red pen point. Okay, the red pen point is that I realized during listening back to our Court of Thorns and Roses episode with our dear friend Carissa that we named her the official pod Catherine. Yes, which I would never take away from her. But then I was like, wait, we also do have another pod Catherine who I mentioned multiple times. And so I was like, okay, well, we need a name. There's 2 points to this RPP. We need a name for that Catherine. And we also need to thank her because she was the one who on our Shelby Mahurin episode, I said that I did not know her birthday, but I was like, well, I'm sure Catherine will tell me what it is.
Catherine always knows.
Yes, because she was the one who told me about, who was it? Somebody else's birthday.
Yeah,
I think it was Erin A. Craig.
Oh,
anyway,
I think you're right. It was.
Yeah. And so she texted me like the next day and was like, Shelby Mahurin's birthday is May 21st. So we found out that she makes her a Gemini. So anyway, that's the RPP for that one. And so for her official pod name, I was like, we have multiple options here.
Yeah,
because
she can't be the official pod Catherine, even though she's an actual Catherine and Carissa's name is not Catherine.
Right. It's already been
alter
taken.
ego is. It's taken. And I would not pry that from Catherine's terrifying fingers.
Exactly. So I was like thinking about nicknames that for Catherine.
And I was thinking because I know where this is going.
Thinking about my literary criticism UIL days back in high school. I can't remember if I didn't mentioned lit crit on the pod.
I was imagining this college for some reason. I've heard about this story.
Yes. Catherine and I met in high school when I was a senior and she was a freshman because she played the flute and I played the clarinet and she was friends with Emily. And then she ended up being on the lit crit team, but she was like younger than everybody else. And so there was like 4 of us who like did a lot of, we did like the competitions and stuff, but she would come and like do, practice with us.
Yeah.
And so everybody on the team had like a nickname and we put our nicknames on our denim vests that we wore to competitions that have these denim vests were insane. We spent like a whole day making them together.
We should all acknowledge that by choice. That is a by choice thing. I do own multiple denim vests. I'm big into denim, which is something Javi also was like, why? He's like, what kind of dresses do you think are cute? And I'm like, denim dresses. And he's like,
Well, you're right. I love denim.
Right. It is so funny. It's like the one thing that he'll openly be like, you don't want to like wear something different? Like he just like really does not like denim dresses. It's just so weird. I'm like, what a strange opinion to have. These are cute as hell. Anyways, sorry, continue.
Yeah,
you love denim. I'm wearing
these. You wear your denim vest over your denim dress. Oh, there we go.
Pants. Fluffy pants.
Fluffy pants. So the denim vests that we made were like completely unhinged. The energy was so bad on them because we wore them so that we would like scare our enemies at the UIL competitions. And
oh my God.
So they had our nicknames on the back.
I want an unhinged denim vest to match with you.
And they also had a giant patch of old Greg's face on them, also on the back. And it was so terrifying that people were very much like, what the hell is going on over there? But we were so proud of them. So anyway, everyone had a nickname. Mine was Baby Barbarino. Emily was Cheesy Gordita. Jared was Iron Deficient. And James was the Machine. And we were like, Catherine needs a nickname. And for some reason, the nickname that we gave her was Slop Bucket.
This is so mean. That is hazing. This is hazing.
It was kind of mild hazing, but you got to understand, it wasn't done.
It wasn't done in a mean spirit. You were like,
this will be funny.
And it is.
And it is funny. So I don't really want to make her the official Pod slop bucket because it's kind of like it doesn't really represent the good she has done for the podcast.
But we could do
something.
Here's what I'm thinking. We could do pod astrologist bucket, which is good. Representative. Because she is our astrologist, really. She just goes and gets the birthdays we need. Or pod slop astrologist, which has a different vibe.
Kind of like slop astrologist. But I think we should let Catherine decide.
Okay,
Catherine, my love, if you're listening to this episode, you can decide between those
pod astrologist bucket or slop astrologist.
And they're both met with so much love. Okay.
Truly.
Yeah.
What would we do without you? We would just not know these people's birthdays.
We would just not know anyone's birthday. And God. I think she's also been featured on like a couple of my like author meeting stories because I've met multiple authors because of her.
Oh.
So she is a lovely, lovely girl, but you have to pick your name now, my dear.
Yeah.
All right.
Your time has come.
Your time has come.
It is time.
I think that was it for wrap-up buzz for me.
Okay, cool. I don't have any wrap-up buzz. This is so luckily, or not so luckily, we're still in this cycle of Ash decided to go to her mermaid retreat, which meant we had to, just by the way things turned out, we had to record 2 modern books and then in a row, and then 2 classical books. So this episode is on The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, and the next episode will be on Jane Eyre. So we are doing 2 classics in a row. If you don't like classics, don't worry. Week after that, we're back to our scheduled programming with a very special episode. So don't worry, we're almost back to our regular programming. But for now, it's this classic and one more. But this is Oscar Wilde. So this is not just any classic. This is like as fun as classics can get, in my opinion. If you
don't like Oscar Wilde, what are you doing?
If you don't like Oscar Wilde, you're not going to like any classic. That's how I feel about it. He's
anything written before 1900. You just don't even bother.
Just don't bother. He is so clever and quick-witted. Like the satire and yet wisdom, like cynical wisdom of Oscar Wilde can never be matched.
Yeah, true.
He's one of my all-time. He is like in the top 3 like favorite classical authors, and his play The Importance of Being Earnest is my favorite straight play. It is so good.
It's very, very funny.
Yeah.
We should do that. Funny. Are we doing it? We are, right?
The Importance of Being Earnest?
Yeah.
We should. Carissa, Catherine, gave me a shirt that had all of the text of The Importance of Being Earnest on it. If I'm remembering correctly, I believe that's what it was from.
That's incredible.
Is like, yeah, it is incredible. And I think it had like his face or something on it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So it's exciting. So don't be intimidated if you have been reading along or want to read along. This book is only this thick.
Yeah, it's it's a quick read.
It's a quick read. Yeah. This is my
And
copy.
It's very dramatic. It's interesting. It's funny.
It is dramatic and yet still interesting and funny. I was surprised by how dramatic it was because Oscar Wilde is usually more like the stuff that I like to read from him is usually like a little bit more whimsical.
Mm-hmm.
This was not whimsical.
No.
This was like
it's
paranormal, bitter, creepy, eerie, but still very clever and quick-witted.
Yes.
It's still very cynical. This is a very cynical book, which is funny. I don't think he came across as a very cynical person. Do we have anything else we want to catch up on, or should we just dive into the author bio?
Can you tell me a little bit about how the Mermaid Retreat went?
Oh, I haven't caught you up on the Mermaid Retreat.
No, you haven't told me anything about it.
Okay, here's how it went. There was a lot of water.
At a Mermaid Retreat? Good.
No, so it was great. So hysterically, or not so hysterically, it wasn't hysterical then. We got there and there was no internet. Like the internet was out, and it was out in the boonies where we were all staying. So I was just like, well, I hope my husband doesn't think I've been murdered, because let me tell you, if he thinks I've been murdered, you are going to have some hell to pay. Like, I do not envy the person who murders me. So I don't. And they were all like not really concerned about it. And I was like, no, you don't understand. If I cannot get a hold of this man to let him know that I've not been killed, he had to go drop me off in the middle of the woods. So I was like, can I hotspot off of anybody's phone just to like send him a WhatsApp message and be like, all is well. There's no internet here. And there was no internet the whole weekend. And this was not like a part of the retreat. This was not like a 9 Perfect Strangers thing where they took our phones. Like, we were supposed to have internet access. So it was a little bit difficult that we didn't all weekend. So I was pretty much out of touch, which was okay. It was really fun though. We did get lost because they gave us like GPS instructions. So the GPS instructions wanted us to go one way, but they had like written some instructions in case people's GPS took them the wrong way. And they were in conflict. And then we ended up going the wrong way. And they had mentioned this one landmark in the instructions, but there were 2 of the same landmark, which we didn't know. One was on the right path, and there was another totally equal looking landmark on the way that we were going. So I got there half an hour late, and I'm thinking I'm not the only one who got lost. No, I walk in. They're all seated together in the living room. With the Mermaid Retreat, Brandy Anthony, who's in charge. Mermaid Freedive, by the way, if you guys are interested in this, it was amazing. I could even show you. I got Freedive certified and Mermaid Patty certified. So it was fantastic. I loved it. It was the best time. Such a good time. So if you guys are interested in that, look up Mermaid Freedive. Live Freediving is the team that she partners with for the freediving training, and they were great. But I walk in, and Brandy Anthony, who's in charge of this, is like sitting there like cross-legged in like this giant like love seat, and everyone else is seated around her, like 12 women or something. And I just walk in, and I'm like, "Hi, I'm Ash, and I'm late." And they're like, "Yeah, it's okay." And I was like, "It's not okay. I can tell it's not okay." So for all the social anxiety I was having, what a really strong way to start. So that first night I was like, I'm just going to try and not bother anybody because I was already half an hour late. So they had to they were waiting for me to get there to start everything.
Oh no.
30 minutes. And I was like, someone else was like, yeah, don't worry. I was late too. And I was like, really? How late? And she was like, 3 minutes. And I was like, okay, shut up.
Okay. Yeah. Be quiet.
3 minutes does not count. But yeah, there was a lot of great girls there, a lot of great mermaids. People were nice, no drama. I feel like boys always say something like, oh, a group of girls, there's gonna be drama. No. We are good at drama, but not in like a few days. Like that kind of drama has to build over months.
Yeah, so girls are very nice, actually.
We're very nice. We have I saw this thing that said that this is why women will compliment each other and then like downplay the compliment in return. Like, oh, I love your dress. Like, oh, it's been in the back of my closet forever. Oh yeah, it has pockets. This is because we're showing each other we're not a threat.
Oh, wow.
Diplomacy comes first, even in the like littlest social interactions with women.
Probably true. Yeah.
I think it really is true. So not that we don't have some killer drama. And the reason our drama is so killer is because it starts so deep and it builds over so much time.
True. I can't let anything go.
We have such good memories. Just for that. Actually, I have bad memory, which is probably why I don't have a lot of drama between girls in my life. I just forget everything. It's a blessing.
You're like, oh, don't worry about it. I don't even remember.
Don't worry about it. I'll forget it. Literally, you could like punch me in the face and be like, oh, I'm so sorry. Be like, don't worry. Just give me a week. I'm gonna forget this ever happened. Genuinely, totally that forgive and forget thing. I don't even have to. I'll just forget and forget.
There was a lot of drama at this Mermaid Retreat and you just don't even remember it.
Whoa. Nah, I think it was recent enough. There was no drama. So yes. That's good. Especially because apparently there's a lot of drama in the community. But we didn't even spend time talking about it, which was nice. There were a few people who every now and then would be like, should we talk about the mermaid drama? And I was like, I'm just going to go hang out somewhere else because I don't want to hear about it.
Gosh, that is so unlike me. I would have been like, please tell me all about the mermaid drama.
Yeah. But it was good. So when we were there was Tropical Storm Fred was moving through Florida at the time. So we were like, well, this is going to be really interesting. All of the springs we were supposed to train in, besides one, were totally browned out because the rivers had flooded with the water and flooded into the springs. Like when I say browned out, this is not like, I was thinking like murky Texas lake water or river water, which can look kind of brown after like a storm. No. When they took us to go look at one of the springs where they usually do the diving, and it looked like root beer. It looked like root beer. I have a picture. Maybe I'll post it. Remind me to post it. I do have a picture that I took of the root beer water. And they were like, yeah, we're not putting you guys in this. So we were kind of afraid that we wouldn't get to dive for depth because there was one spring where we could train. Ichituckney Springs, and it was beautiful, like crystal clear water. It was gorgeous. It was really, really crowded though, which was a little bit of a problem the second day that we went out there, but we did all of our free diving training there and all of our mermaid training, except for dive for depth. To dive for depth, we ended up having to go to this private spring, which was gorgeous. And also like it's just for divers. So it wasn't crowded. There were some scuba divers though. So when I was going down the line, it was weird to see scuba divers going like into these caves down there. I was like, I feel like I'm seeing like a manatee or something in the wild. Like it's just like, yeah, because like the scuba divers and the free divers like just didn't like, we just didn't really interact with them, which is funny because a lot of free divers also scuba dive.
Yeah.
Not I. I don't really have any desire to scuba dive, even though my family does. But yeah, so it was super, super fun. I really enjoyed diving for depth. I exceeded what I needed to for depth. I touched the bottom, but it wasn't that far. It wasn't that far from our plate at the bottom of our rope. So it's not like I exceeded it by a ton, but I was pretty proud of myself.
Nice.
I loved the free diving. I had never done free diving before. I love it so much. I can definitely see myself going free diving often.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Wow. So it was really, really good time. The mermaiding stuff was also very fun. And we learned like a bunch of cool stuff. I can blow bubble kisses now. So,
cute.
I can pose underwater, which doesn't sound like it's a thing you should work on. But the thing is, you have to stay underwater. You have to go down on an exhale. So basically you have to hold your breath without having any breath to hold. So there is a little bit of a trick to it. And actually that was like a lot more fun than I expected to. And I think I did better than I expected with that. But overall I loved the free diving. It was so fun.
Yay.
It was so fun. So thinking over some mermaid podcast ideas too. But anyways, it was a good retreat, a bunch of great people. So if you're listening and I met you at the retreat, that was a fun time, wasn't it?
I'm so glad you had fun.
Yeah, I did. Zero regrets. And then trying to get back out because of the storm. Fred was just circling the airport we had to leave out of, just circling it. So we ended up I had to get a refund on our original ticket because the airline, like they wouldn't just transfer us over to a new ticket because the new ticket was for like nighttime the next day. And I was like, the storm is going to be gone in the morning. Like I have work. I have to get back. So I had just got a refund and then had to get all brand new tickets, much more expensive, by the way, to try and get back the next morning, which we did. And it was all fine. But yeah, it was something. There's a little bit of chaos trying to get back. And we had to stay an extra night, which was fine though, because I hadn't like gotten to see Javi in a few days. So he got me this bracelet with a stingray on it.
Oh, cute.
And then I got this bracelet from one of the live free dive instructor, Kiki at the retreat. She runs a little jewelry company called, I think it's called Gypsy Soul Jewelry.
That's really beautiful.
Cute. Yeah.
Look at that. Ooh, what is the top of it?
I don't know.
What kind of stone is that?
I don't know. It looks like sea glass, but I don't know what it is.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. And I finally got this mood necklace because I love mood jewelry and I love chokers and I have not had either for a while. So I've been wearing it constantly.
Yeah, it's really cute.
Yeah. So it was all a good time. All in all, Florida was a good time. I didn't see the beach still. I have to say this. Everyone has always said, oh my God, Florida is so humid. You'll hate it. Listen, maybe it's just where we were in Florida, but it was less humid than it is here right now and way less hot. It was like in the mid 80s, maybe 90.
Dang.
Yeah. I was like, this is way cooler and way less sticky than where I live is right now. So I don't know what this has been about. But yeah, it was beautiful. The water was so pretty. There was a turtle named Virgil in the turtle. Blue Grotto private dive springs.
Oh my God.
Virgil's like, I guess like Virgil's lived there for a while, so was very used to the family that lives there and like come up like asking for snacks. And so she was like, we got there and she was like begging like on us and like kissing people because she wanted to be fed.
That's so cute.
Funny. She was so cute. She's, I guess, very well known in the dive community down there. But yeah, it was a good time.
I love that. Yay.
Oh, so sorry, that's probably more than you guys all wanted, but there is my big update on the mermaid.
I was just itching for the update because I hadn't heard about any of it. So
I don't have a lot of pictures, but maybe I'll try and put some pictures up on the pod Insta from
do it.
I did not take a lot of pictures, but yeah, it was a good time. I want to get back in the water now. I'm gonna go right now.
Okay, but he's walking out the door. Oh, dang it, Ash, come on.
I'll be free dive. I had to find somewhere to free dive here. It's got to be somewhere.
Oh,
I wore
yeah,
my
I'm sure.
wetsuit all weekend because of the rain, they were like, so the springs are constant 72. We got there and they were like, oh, this is colder than usual. I was like, I hate this. I got so cold. They were like, okay, so your lips are starting to turn purple. So let's just, you're gonna need to go in and like warm up soon. I was like, great. I was like shaking. We had to do our static breath holds. And I kept like convulsing with cold, not with like too much CO2 in my body from the breath hold. Like I was so cold. I just kept like convulsing. I don't do well with cold. Some people were fine. I did not do well with
Oh
the
my
cold.
God.
But yeah.
No.
It's okay. I stuck it out. Yeah.
You did great.
Yeah. Anyways, do we want to talk about Oscar Wilde?
Sure. Tell me all about Oscar.
I'll tell you all about Oscar. And then you can tell me, you said you have some personal connection.
Not really.
You met him in person.
I met Oscar in person.
Okay, so Oscar, I don't know if he knew his name was this long. I didn't. Oscar Fingal O'Flaherty Wills Wilde was born in Dublin, Ireland, October 16th, 1854, making him, and this shocked me, a Libra. I was like, a Libra? I would have guessed Gemini, like for sure. That is so funny because my husband's a Libra and I was like, Oscar Wilde, hobby. Oscar Wilde, hobby?
Yeah, I don't see any connection there.
Zero connection. I was like, I should figure out what his sun sign is or whatever. I don't even know if I can. Anyway, so nowadays he is, he's a literary icon in general because he is like just the master of satire. He's so clever and quick-witted, but also he's a literary icon for the LGBTQ plus community. For reasons that will become very obvious. So he actually had a pretty small body of literature compared to a lot of other classic authors. So that was kind of interesting to note. They included a couple straight plays, including The Importance of Being Earnest, yes. A couple books, and he did a collection of poems that apparently did not go super well. So guys, there's fruit flies, and I literally had just told Kendall the fruit flies had been better, but now there's one that just won't leave me alone. We have fruit fly traps everywhere. Anyways, didn't have this problem in Florida, but the mosquitoes were like, you would just walk into a cloud of mosquitoes.
Oh God,
it was gross. I will say that for Florida's mosquitoes. Anyway, so Oscar Wilde, I almost said Dorian Gray. Good God.
So Dorian Gray.
So Oscar Wilde was the second child of Sir William and Jane Wilde. Sir William was a surgeon and philanthropist. He actually published quite a few books on Irish folklore and other things. And I thought that's interesting. Yeah. His mother was also in the literary community. She wrote Irish nationalist poetry, and she published it under the name Speranza, which is Italian for hope, very similar to the Spanish Esperanza for hope.
Cool.
But she chose Speranza for her pen name because she believed she was descended from Dante. And I was like, this is interesting because she's an Irish who believes that she is descended from Italians, and I'm Irish and Italian. And I'm like, I still don't think that I could pull off Speranza. I just don't think I could, but I give her
not with that attitude.
Oh God. So Oscar Wilde was just very talented, I feel like, from the start. And with these two parents, it's not super surprising that he was an intellectual, like an easy intellectual. He breezed through his education at Trinity College. He was known for his flamboyant style and his like lavish lifestyle, and like his way of like even just like entertaining friends. Like it was always like a really, he was just like, everything was a big deal for him. Yeah. And he built this like way larger than life persona, which has lasted until now. I mean, I think his most famous picture is probably the one with like wearing the furs with the jewel topped cane or whatever.
Yes,
and, like, the carnation.
A great picture.
Yeah, a great picture. And this was just like, this was him. This
yeah.
just like what he did. He was a prominent member of the aesthetic movement, which is probably best known for the art for art's sake saying. Mm-hmm. So I really like that. I can't say I'm a member of the movement because I don't know enough about it, and I'm afraid I'll align myself with something I don't agree with. And I don't know that much about the aesthetic movement, but I do love the phrase art for art's sake.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to that I like. Like, why did you? I had this conversation with friends years ago about like getting tattoos, and she was like, I'll never get a tattoo unless it means something to me. And I'm like, I get a tattoo because it's pretty. Like, why did you get that tattoo? Because it's pretty.
Yeah.
Because pretty things make us happy. I mean,
I feel the
like,
same
why
way.
do you hike to the top of a mountain to like just look at the view? Because it's pretty. Because it makes you happy. So I think there's a lot to just pretty things. I've got my candle lit back over there, which I was telling Kendall just makes me feel safe. Like I just always feel like everything has to be okay if there's a candle lit. I don't know why, just something about the ambiance that it creates is just like happy and calm. And I don't know. Anyway, so I'm a fan of that idea. He had a general disregard for rules. We love that. Which it sounds like this is the vibe that I got, and it may or may not be correct. Feel free to correct me if you know more about Oscar Wilde than I do. You probably do. So it was like, I just lost my train of thought as I was going into this. I think he was really popular with, oh, I'm gonna die.
Oh my God.
That cough came on out of nowhere. Hang on, I'm gonna have to write down this time code.
Okay.
Edit it out.
Cut this. Steven, cut this.
Steven. Javi, he'd be like, what the fuck? What do you want? Not really. He'd be like, I don't know how to do that. Okay. So I have the feeling that Oscar Wilde was popular with the younger generation and less popular with the older generation. I don't know for sure, but I could see it really easily. And I think most of his critics I was reading about were older, like more like his parents' generation. So I'm like, I mean, that would definitely check out. I feel like that's often the way it is.
Yeah.
So he married Constance Floyd and had 2 children with her. But interesting fact that I found on here, I'll also credit where I got this information from, by the way, bbc.co.uk. We love BBC, and bookriot.com is where I got all this information. So feel free to go learn more about him. Book Riot especially had a lot more information if you really want a deep dive on Oscar Wilde. We love them. No .orgs today, but that's okay because these are BBC.
You do have .uk.
Well, we got a .uk, so I mean that says something.
If you can't trust the BBC.
If you can't trust the BBC, who can you trust? So interestingly enough, Wilde's childhood sweetheart was Florence Balcombe, who went on to marry Bram Stoker.
Holy shit. No way.
Yeah. I was like,
that's
really?
funny.
It's
I guess
so
they
weird.
are both Irish.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I guess so. I mean, I guess they've all known each other since they were kids. It makes you wonder like how much you like about like your career path, your success in life is defined by like your social circles in younger life.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I don't belong to the social circle, any of the social circles I belong to this far. I'm existing outside social circles at this point. I know you. That's like you're my whole social circle.
We have a social line.
A social line. Yeah, exactly. So anyways, I thought that was pretty hysterical.
Oh yeah. Did Bram Stoker also go to Trinity College?
Did he?
I think he did.
Do we know? Interesting.
We'll
Possibly.
check it.
We'll check it. Is there any other college to go to in Ireland in this day and age?
No.
So married Constance Floyd and self-admitted that they experienced a few years of marital bliss. Apparently, like we're very happy together. Apparently, by his own admission, very happy through their first kid. Apparently, there was some stress with the second pregnancy, and they started to like there was some tension between them about the second pregnancy. And Book Riot did not go into detail about that, so I don't know what that tension would be. But anyways, this is when he started to have his many affairs. These affairs for which he became very well known. So he began a string of homosexual relationships with all his male lovers, but most notably, this is what he's probably most known for in his personal life. He had an affair with Lord Alfred Douglas. And then basically, Lord Alfred Douglas's father, he was the Marquis of something or other, started to like trash talk Wilde and was ruining his reputation. So then Wilde sued him for libel. And then Wilde lost his case. And then he went to jail for 2 years for gross indecency. So for being gay. So that was great. Nice. His health was pretty rapidly. Yeah, it sucks ass. His health was pretty. What?
Alfred, he sucks too, right?
Yeah, he sucks too.
That's from what I remember.
Yeah, if you guys want some like heartbreaking but very interesting drama, go read in detail about this part of Oscar Wilde's life.
Terrible.
It's terrible. So Wilde's health was pretty rapidly damaged in jail. Unfortunately, he came out and he was never like super well again. It kind of seems like his he wrote one other work. I don't remember. I think it has a Latin name or something. that did pretty well. But that was really about it. I believe he died of meningitis in Paris, November 30th, 1900. He is still known for his satire, wit, and cynical wisdom, and also just his normal wisdom, but mostly his sense of humor and his style and his gay affairs.
Isn't it true that like I think I'd heard like the last thing you ever said was something about this wallpaper is dreadful or something.
I haven't heard that, but it's probably true.
I think that I heard, yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I feel like
I definitely read that, but I don't know if it's true. But
I have this feeling that like in most of his works that I've read, like there's a character that just seems really like strong Oscar Wilde vibes. And the importance of being earnest, I think Algernon must have a lot in common with Oscar Wilde, because the same archetype character shows up in The Picture of Dorian Gray. What's his face? The buddy who basically turns Dorian
Lord
Gray.
Henry.
Yeah, Lord Henry. He has strong Algernon vibes too. And I'm just like, and based on Oscar Wilde's life and the ways that he's said to have spoken and acted, I'm just like, was that you, Oscar?
Yeah. Okay.
We all do it. It's really hard, I feel like, not to have strong you vibes in your main character.
Yeah.
And it changes over time as you change. So like a book that I wrote like 6 years ago where I strongly resonate with the main character may look very different than the book I write now.
Yeah.
But there's still strong elements of me at the time it was written in each character. And I feel like that's what happened with Algernon and Sir Henry, or Lord Henry,
Probably.
whatever his name is.
Yeah, except for I'd like to think that I would like Oscar better than I like Lord Henry.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Algernon is way more what's the word I'm looking for? Not harmful. He's way more benign.
Yeah. I've read this book now, and then I had read like I have a collection of like children's short stories that he wrote, that Oscar wrote, and then I've seen The Importance of Being Earnest with you. So that's
the first time that I saw it by Black Swan Theater. It was like a youth theater in Oregon. And oh my God, it was amazing. Like it was so amazing. It did not feel like a youth performance at all. Super, super talented actors. And it was hysterical. I think it was like
so
the last
funny.
night of their show. It is so funny. And then I
really
went back
funny.
and like I read it and I was like, oh my God, it's still funny. It's just hysterical.
It's great.
It's nonsense. It's like our vibe.
It is
nonsense.
True.
With a few good points here and there. Largely for nonsense and comedy's sake.
Well, the children's stories that I read them when I was like in Ireland. I like got the book in Ireland, like at Trinity College, and then I read them, and I just was like crying. I cried a lot because like I don't know, like the like little nice like lessons that he kind of like weaves into these little stories like for kids. It was so pure and sweet, and like but he still kind of has like that humor, even though they're for kids. And I was just like, I'm so mad, like because he was only like what, 46 when he died.
I don't know, they all died young, but probably.
But I'm
I forgot to say also his I forgot to put this in the bio, but also when all the stuff went down with his affair with Lord Douchebag. Forgot his name, so I just thought Douchebag would be a good placeholder.
That's good. That's fine.
It's good. Constance, his wife, who they were separated, but not legally separated. She like moved to a different country. I want to say Scotland, but that might not be true, and changed her last name and like moved with the kids. And so I don't know what that's about. I have a hard time.
I'd be mad if I was
for anything because he straight up just started having affairs. And also like, I don't know. Wow. Just so much is packed into their relationship that would be so hard to like sift through. But yeah, it's especially confusing because they were so happy together first.
And you're like, you wonder, is Oscar bi?
That's what I was wondering. And his first crush was on a girl too. And like from people I know who are LGBTQ plus, it's a mouthful, have said stuff like it's this all a spectrum. And I wouldn't know because I'm not, so I'm not going to pretend to know, but is this one of those examples? Like, well, because I don't know. I think based on his life, you would think that he's bi.
Yeah, I just wonder about it because people always say like, oh, Oscar Wilde, he's gay.
Yeah.
But it seems like you don't know for sure what
Yeah.
was in the mind of somebody who lived
And we
over
can't go
100
ask
years
him.
ago. You can't ask
Exactly.
him.
If we could
You
ask
don't
him, maybe we
know
could know.
if he
What if
actually loved his wife,
no.
It's very complicated.
Maybe they
Also,
were just like really like close friends and they were happy because like they just like loved each other in a friend way. I mean,
right,
honestly,
you never
who
know.
knows? What if they're not even his kids? What if they're like, we just can't even, what if they are his kids? There's just no way of knowing any of this.
There's no way.
But I want to know so bad. I would have like probably the most shallow questions to ask Oscar Wilde about his life. I'd be like, listen,
I bet
you
he
just
would like it.
he probably would. I feel like you set up this like drama mystery that we've continued to argue about since your death. Like, could you just clarify some things for us? We just want to know. He probably would say some kind of nonsense.
I don't know. It's also like, I don't know. I guess it's his business.
It is totally
the
his
only
business.
thing is it's just that he's famous. That's why everyone is like,
yeah.
And also
it's like celebrity gossip.
The time that he was
Mm-hmm.
that he lived. It's the whole thing is complicated, but
yeah,
basically he's a great writer and
an amazing writer.
I went and visited the Oscar Wilde, like his house in Dublin. Have you been there?
Did you see his ghost? No, I did not.
No,
I was only in Dublin for a day.
Not. But they have like a really cool. They have like a statue of him out by this park, and the park is like kind of themed around one of his children's stories, which is so cute. It's like for kids,
so
and there's a nice like huge statue of him, and he's like laughing, and then across the street is like the house he grew up in, and then so me and Emily, when we were in Dublin, we wanted to go like do the tour of the house, but we realized it started in like 20 minutes and we were like across the river, like on the other side of town. So we had to like book it to the house, and we got there like exactly as it started, or maybe like a couple minutes later. And we go upstairs and for the tour, and this guy who is giving the tour is like sitting at a table. Everyone is sitting at this table in like this dining room, and he's got like a slideshow presentation going, and the slide and we walked in and we're like, sorry, we're late. And he's like, oh, that's all right, take a seat. And we all sit down, and he basically just goes through this slideshow of like the history of the Wilde family and like how the house was built and who married who. And it went on for like 30 minutes.
Oh my god.
And we kept making faces across the table at each other like we really ran for this. It wasn't bad. Hilarious. It was just you could tell he was very, very invested in it. Like it was like his thing. He knew a lot about, which is awesome. This
reminds me very much of the girl on TikTok who does like the Scottish tour guide videos.
Yeah. Kind of like that. We did end up like eventually like he showed us around the house and we got to go in all the rooms and stuff, and that part was pretty fun. But it was so funny getting there and just having a slideshow presentation for 30 minutes about the history of this family.
That is so funny.
Anyway,
we went to this weird place once called like the Center of the Universe or something. I don't remember where it was, in Arizona maybe, or maybe on the edge of California.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
It was so there was a strong part of me, I'm going to say the primary part of me, that thought we were going to walk in and be murdered and they'd never find our bodies. We were the only people there. There's a staircase to nowhere is there, which that has more of an interesting story. Like, I guess like the owner basically bought it from the like off the Eiffel Tower or something or other. And like, yeah, anyways.
Oh my God.
And so it's just there. It doesn't lead anywhere. You can't go up. You can't go up it or anything. You can just look at it and be like, there's a staircase.
There it is.
To nowhere. And it's like, it's weird. There's like a pyramid there. And like, basically like the goal is to like inscribe on these, like, there's these giant stone tablets. And the goal is to inscribe the history of the universe on them so that someday when the apocalypse comes, humanity can read these stones and rebuild itself. And there's stuff in like other languages on there. So it was and there's like, up like past all of these, you follow this path up this giant staircase, this one you can walk on, and and there's like this tiny little chapel up there that has room for like maybe like 20 people in it maximum, like crowded. and like nobody is there, and you walk up and there's this, you can go into this maze of stone walls, and in this maze there's these like laser printed photos, and you can buy one. You can like pay like a couple $100 to like have your picture or some like message like inscribed on them, and then it goes on the wall. And I 100% thought we're gonna walk into this maze and we're gonna fall through like a friggin' trap door, and we're just gonna be kidnapped here, and we're just gonna be brutally murdered here, like in a horror movie.
My god!
But this is not even the part that reminded me of it. So we went into, oh my god, it was so odd. They were like, "Do you want the tour?" There was only one woman there, and the way she spoke was kind of like, "Are you a robot? Like, or are you hypnotized?" A strong cult energy. That's what this whole place was. Strong cult energy. And she was the only one. And she was like, "Do you want the full tour?" And we were like, "Hell yes, we want the full tour." Absolutely, we do. So she's like, "This way." And so we followed her into this like weird side room, like this, the size of like a large linen closet, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and then like there's this old TV on like the rolly thing, you know, like they used to roll in the classroom when the teacher was hungover and they make you watch a video because they didn't want to teach. So one of those carts with an old TV on it. And then we sat there and we watched a very similar thing to what you're describing with like slides. But like, it was so weird because I was like, are we being hypnotized right now? Because like,
you guys, so weird
because I don't even remember what it was about. I just remember being like, I'm not learning anything about this place. What is this like? It was like, there wasn't any of the details you wanted about the place.
No. You're just like,
it's so weird. Now? And like, it was just so odd. And so like the woman, like she kept talking to us, and this was about how her voice stopped. And she would just suddenly stop talking and just like be looking at you. And you'd be like, "What? Are you okay? Do you need help?
Oh my god.
Do you need us to get you out of here?" It was just, and like the gift shop it had like a couple things that were related to the place.
Yeah.
But more, it looked like a thrift, like the back of the thrift shop, like of a thrift shop where they put like a old, like semi-broken like teapots and like figurines and like plates and random old knickknacks, and they were all used, like just a bunch of old random knickknacks. And this was most of the gift shop, which was bigger than the weird linen closet they made us watch the full tour.
What the heck? This is the weirdest thing I've ever heard of.
It was so weird. I have a bracelet that I made because I got like a little like token thing, and I put it on like a rubber band, and I was like, to never forget. This weird place.
You can never forget this experience.
It was so weird. Just once in my life now, I want to give somebody a slideshow like that. And I want to just like stop between every other sentence and just look at them.
Make them really concerned that they might be getting hypnotized, you know?
Isn't that what we all want? Just once, just to feel that kind of power. Anyways,
Lord,
that was my slideshow story. I also went to Dublin, and it was a good time, but it was a lot of people. So
yeah,
to get back on topic, it was a lot of people, and I was overwhelmed. So I enjoyed rural Ireland much more. But I should probably go back to Dublin again and see all the sites. Yeah, we also got harassed by these like little street urchins in Dublin.
I know, I can't believe that happened to you.
It was so weird. They were like literally pulling our hair. And my mom was like, "Stop it. Where are your parents?" And I was like, "Yeah, where are your parents?" Like I should have stood up. They were kids, so I didn't want to be like mean, but they were horrible. They were running up and down this like the little like rail thing, smacking people's like newspapers out of their hands, and then like coming and talking to us and like mocking us and pulling off our hoods of our jackets and pulling our hair. And I was just like, what is happening? Like,
these little Irish urchins just
they didn't like, they're wearing like normal clothes. Like I'm like, who do you belong to? And why are you allowed to act this way? Never in my life. Anyways, it was a mess. We were both like really mad for like hours.
I just can't believe
it's so invasive because it's so helpless, because they're kids. What can you do? But you're being genuinely attacked. But what can you do? And now I'm like, I would have drop kicked them. I should have drop kicked them. But at the time, out of here. I should have been way more firm. But they were kids, and so I was like, I don't want to be mean to these children. And now I'm like, nah. But I should have been super mean.
It's just so wild because you were there for like one day.
I spent
like in total, I spent like a week and a half probably in Dublin, just in Dublin. And everyone was nothing but nice. I've never had a bad experience. I would totally live there.
I'm like have like legitimate anxiety about the idea of getting back on like one of like the trams. Like I'm like, God. But now maybe I know what I'm gonna do.
I walked most places. Maybe you just can't get on the tram.
Maybe.
Anyway, I don't know. I guess I'll give the summary now.
Yeah, that sounds good before I go too deep into my trauma.
It's really unpacking the attack on the
being assaulted by these little Irish kids. What the hell, man? So weird. Anyways, right, yeah, so tell us about the Picture of Dorian Gray.
The Picture of Dorian Gray. Okay, so we begin with Basil Hallward. He is a painter, and he's working on a picture, and his friend is over, his friend Lord Henry, and they like knew each other from school or something. You quickly learn that Basil is like a really nice guy, and he is pretty even keel, and Lord Henry is definitely like the bad influence friend. And
is he?
He's like kind of wild and has a lot of funny opinions, but like kind of cynical opinions too. And so basically Basil ends up telling him about, this painting is of my friend Dorian. And this speech was so gay, I couldn't even handle it.
Oh my God. Okay. I was like, is he gay though? I was like,
Basil is so in love with Dorian.
That's what I thought.
But like,
then later I was like, wait, is Lord Henry gay though?
I think they're all gay.
I was like, is everybody gay though?
Seems like it.
I really felt like it. Yeah. But, they were all in love with each other.
Yeah.
Like, openly in love with each other.
If Basil's not in love with Dorian, then I'm going to eat my hat. Like, come on. He's so clearly. So he's basically telling Lord Henry, like, Lord Henry's like, oh, he's pretty handsome, and Basil's like, he's extremely handsome. He's like, Dorian is the best thing that's ever happened to me. I'm obsessed with Dorian. Dorian's like my muse. He basically goes on and on about how
he's so beautiful. He is the sun. He is the moon. He's my everything.
Yeah, but it's also that like he feels like he's a better painter because of Dorian's influence. Like now he can like, he's like, I used to just look at a field and see like a field, and now I see it for like the beauty that they talk about in poems. Like he's going on and on, which is very sweet, but it's also like, I can already tell this is going to go badly for you.
Yeah, he is. I like that he is realistic about Dorian's like personality from the outset. He's like, I don't think he likes me as much as I like him, but he does like being complimented.
Yeah, and you're like, sometimes he says things that really hurt my feelings, but it's okay. It's like,
this sweet painter, this poor artist. I'm like, you're the only one I would be friends with in this.
He's the only nice character.
He is. It's so sad.
So anyway, so then he's like, and he's coming over soon, so I can finish the portrait. So you better leave because I know you're going to be a bad influence on him. And this was so upsetting because he was like, Basil was like, I know that if Lord Henry talks to Dorian, I'm going to lose Dorian because Lord Henry is such a bad influence.
I was literally thinking, how bad an influence can he be that in just one conversation, he's going to like turn him into somebody else? Like, who is this? Is this guy a hypnotist? Like, does this guy need to be, is he evil? Does he need to be like locked
Lord
up?
Henry's a hypnotist.
Yeah, exactly.
And so then, of course, that's when Dorian comes over, and Basil's like, oh man. So Dorian and Lord Henry meet, and Dorian is immediately like, Lord Henry's got it going on. He's like, Lord Henry knows what he's talking about. Lord Henry is funny. Lord Henry has cool opinions. And the whole time it's like Lord Henry being like, beauty is the only thing that matters. And he's like, you're really hot now, but what about when you get old and ugly? He's like, don't waste your youth.
He just walks in like plain. I almost feel like because like Basil or whatever his name is, because he warned him so much that he didn't want him to meet him, Lord Henry's like, I'm just gonna stick it to him. And he's just like, every mind game he can play, he's immediately playing with Dorian, and Dorian is just eating it all up.
Yes.
And it hurts so
Dorian's
bad.
kind of stupid. So
he is. I mean, he is so dumb. This boy is pretty, but so dumb.
Yeah, and he's not even nice, so he can't be a himbo, He's just like,
God doesn't give with both hands. That's not true, but I do love that saying whenever you see like a really, really pretty but kind of dumb person, you're like, God doesn't give with both hands.
so funny.
That's Dorian.
Oh God, it's so true. So anyway,
So funny.
then Basil's like, okay, my painting is done. But by this time, Dorian has become like kind of like upset now by what Lord Henry has said. He's like really internalized it. Like, wait, is like everything gonna suck when I become old and ugly?
Oh my God.
And so Basil shows him the painting, and it's like a great painting. It looks just like him. It's like, and Lord Henry's like, oh, it's a marvel. You've done so well. And Dorian is like, I hate it. And Basil's like, what?
He like breaks down crying. Like he throws a little baby tantrum. He's like with his head in his hands, sobbing. I'm like, what are you doing?
I know. And they're just like, oh, old chap, get up.
Oh my God.
And so Dorian is like, I hate it. And blah, blah, blah. And then he goes and he's like, I wish that, wouldn't it be great if like I could just keep on living and being this beautiful forever, and the painting could take on all my like years and everything bad. And they're like, oh, you silly chap. And me knowing the plot of the book, I'm like, oh, it was that easy? He just had to like think about
it. That's what I was like, oh, is this the, what's it called? There's a Greek word for like what gets the plot rolling. What is it?
I don't know.
That's my professors are ashamed of me right now.
Well, it'll be a
whenever it hits me. But yeah, that's the moment when the plot starts to roll. And I was like, that's all it took?
Yeah.
God, I'm so glad I haven't looked at a picture of me and said that. Is that all it takes?
Yeah. So then he's like, well, I'll take the painting. He's like, nobody else can have it, because Lord Henry thinks like, oh, I'll buy it from you. And he's like, no, it's mine. And Basil's like, okay. Basil's like, now I'm having a terrible day because Lord Henry and Dorian are going to go hang out.
Good. And then it just became so bad.
He's like, Dorian hates the painting I did for him, and Lord Henry and Dorian are gonna go hang out. So he's like, I'll just stay here.
Basil a hug. It's just so sad. It's like when you introduce like one of your kind of like good friends, but you're not super close. You introduce them to another good friend, and then they just go be besties without you, and you're like,
oh, okay, that's fine. I'll be here.
I'll just be here waiting for some attention. Not
so
me.
Basil.
I demand attention.
that's Lord Henry for you.
Yeah.
So then basically Lord Henry and Dorian become like really good friends, and Dorian kind of stops spending so much time with Basil. And then there's like parts in this book where there's not a lot of plot happening, but there's a lot of people just talking and being witty, you know?
Yeah.
So some of that happens, and then basically Dorian ends up going to see this play. He's just like bored, and he goes to see this play, and it's like Romeo and Juliet, and he becomes immediately smitten with the lead actress. Her name is Sybil Vane.
I was so proud of him at this point in the story. I was like, maybe there's good things in store for you.
Maybe he can love. Maybe he can feel empathy. And so Sybil is like this gorgeous actress who is like so talented, and she
brings the words of the bard to life.
Yes, exactly. And so Dorian goes to see her in these Shakespearean plays like every night, even though the rest of the actors suck and the venue is really terrible,
like grungy, gross venue in the bad part of town.
Yeah, it's like horrible except for Sybil. Sybil's wonderful.
Yeah.
And so then Dorian ends up kind of like, meeting her backstage, and but he's just like so infatuated already. And he doesn't tell her his name. She starts calling him Prince Charming, which is so cringy, but whatever.
I never liked that for a second. I was never okay with that.
I was like, this is like weird.
Like, ew.
And, I was like, this is just unfair, because Dorian is like clearly the hottest man who's ever lived. And he's also like clearly rich.
Yeah.
And Sybil's just like this actress who like works at this grungy theater who probably hasn't gotten much attention besides
she seems like very pretty. Sheltered for being an actress. Like she's kind of like almost like a kept daughter. She's just
because her mom also works at the theater, right?
Yeah.
And so she's kind of, I feel like she never really had that much of a chance.
No.
Especially in like this time period,
Yeah.
And so anyway, Dorian,
I don't know if Dorian had like done a couple things differently, they could have been very happy.
Yes, for sure. And so Dorian keeps going to the plays, and then we also meet Sybil's brother, James, who is a sailor. He's actually her younger brother, which I thought was interesting. So he's like, Sybil, tell me about this guy you've been hanging out with.
Yeah, he's like, seems sus right away.
Exactly.
And she's like, no, he's my Prince Charming. Yeah. And he's like, I'm not buying.
He's like, I don't know about that. And he's like, Mom, you better watch her. And she's like, oh, it's fine. He's rich. And James is like, what the hell? So James is like, well, okay. But then he's like, well, if this guy does anything to hurt you, I'm going to kill him. And she's like, oh, don't say such horrible things, James.
She's so upset that he said this. And I'm like, I don't know. Why not? It seems fair to me.
A duel to the death. And so James is like, rah, 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 rah. But he's going to like sail away to Australia or whatever. So
yeah, to go make.
But he doesn't come back for a while. But then Dorian tells Lord Henry all about Sybil, and then Lord Henry tells Basil all about it, and they're all hanging out. And Dorian is like, I'm just so obsessed with Sybil. I'm in love with her. We're gonna get married. He's like, yeah, the other day I proposed to her and all this stuff. And they're like, whoa, that's crazy. And he's like, yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah. He's like, I want you guys to come meet Sybil or whatever. And so they're like, okay. So they all go to one of Sybil's plays.
Oh, this is so upsetting.
This is the worst. And she's terrible. For like the first time, she's horrible.
Yeah.
Because before this, she's like this amazing actress. Like she's magnetic. She's like the best part about the whole thing. And this time everyone is like, what the hell? Because she's pretty, but she's like not a good actress.
Yeah. I feel like this is the vibe of like when you're a kid and like you invite your friend to church and you're like, no, it's actually like, you know, like pretty chill as far as churches go. And then it happens to be the week they're talking about tithing and you're like, damn it.
It's so true. You're like, it's normally more fun.
Without fail, I've only like invited somebody, and I haven't like gone to church in a while because it's just hard to find a church that's not like really, really painful. But like as a kid, there was only a handful of times I ever brought a friend with me to church, and without fail, no matter the church, no matter the year of my life, it was always the week they were talking about. This is like, you guys who don't go to church, that's like usually for most churches, that's like one sermon a year, maybe two. Yeah. That is not like a common sermon.
You just happened to be that.
Every single time I was just like, I give up.
So true. Oh my God, that's exactly what it's like. Because it's like, it gets, or like when you're showing somebody like a video or something
and they're not reacting.
And then you realize maybe it's not funny.
I know. So Dorian is having this moment where he's like, has she always been bad?
Yes. Dorian is like, oh my God, this is terrible. He's like, no, she's really good. And they're like, oh, you know, she's really, I'm sure she's nice.
Very pretty.
Yeah. And they're like, we gotta go though. This is terrible. Yeah. And Dorian's like, God dang it. So
he's so embarrassed.
He's so embarrassed. And so then at the end of the play, he goes and sees her backstage and she's just like, hey, how's it going? And he's like, babe, what the hell happened? And she's like, you know what? It's the craziest thing. Now, I think what it is I'm terrible now because I've actually found love in real life. And she's like, because now I love you and you love me. And I'm like, what's the deal with all this pretending about it? Like, this is stupid.
This is just like some like weak facsimile. Now that I've experienced the true thing. Yeah.
And
he like, is, I mean, a monster. He is horrible.
He is. He's like, well, okay, then we're over. And she's like, what do you mean? And he's like, basically, he's like, you're really shallow because you're not a good actress anymore. And I hate you because you did this. And because now you embarrassed me in front of my friends.
Yeah.
He's literally like, I don't love you anymore now that you're a bad actress.
Dude, for real, it was horrible. And then she was like, no, it was a mistake. I'll be good again tomorrow.
Yeah, she's like, I'll work on it. Like, it'll be fine. And he's like, no. And he leaves. And he's like, she's like, I don't want to see you anymore.
Crying, reaching for him. And he just leaves. It's just horrifying.
And it's terrible. And I'm like, I would also be like, why did you do this, babe? Like, this is weird. You know, like you can still be a good actress, but there was no excuse for the way he treated her, you know?
Oh no, he wasn't just like, hey, is everything okay? You seemed a little off tonight.
Exactly.
It was like, you suck and I hate you. I hate you for not performing well tonight.
Yeah. And it was very much like, okay, it's very clear now that you were really just obsessed with like the idea of her and the maybe even the character she played, you know? It was definitely not her that you were in love with.
Poor girl.
Which we all
she
knew
was
going in, but
she was like just young and naive, and like this was her only option for getting out of this life, basically.
Yeah.
It's so
and
sad.
Like it sucks. And so then he goes home, but then he kind of has this thing where he's like, wait a minute, I feel bad about that. Wait, does he find the painting now?
I think so.
Yes, he says this is the part. So he looks at the painting that Basil did of him, and he's like, why does it look like that? He's like, this is weird. He looks at it, and it's kind of got like this cruel like sneer going on, and he's like, that is definitely not how it looked before.
Yeah.
But he's like, that's so weird. I'm just gonna sleep it off.
Yeah.
And so then he kind of like starts feeling bad about what he did to Sybil, and he's like, oh, okay, you know what? That was a bad thing I did. I'm gonna write a letter to her, and I'm gonna like re-propose to her because I shouldn't do that.
Yeah. And
because he was thinking about, I think this is when he realized, he was like, oh my God, did all of the that thing I said when Basil first gave me the painting, did that actually happen? He's like, is that why my painting looks like this? Because I was mean to Sybil.
And that's why he's upset.
Like, yeah, and he's so upset by it. He's like, oh God, I don't want that. He's like, oh God, I can't believe I did this. I got to make this right. You know, at first it's like a motivating factor. This is like
the last good decision he makes.
Yeah,
in the whole book.
Yes, and so, I love the way that Oscar talked about his letter though, because he's like, as he's writing the letter to Sybil, he's like, Oscar was saying, or the narrator was like, yeah, it was kind of like he was forgiving himself while he was doing it. He's like, he felt pretty forgiven by the time he finished it. It was something about
something about confessions.
Like
the freedom is in the confession, not in the forgiveness.
In the
basically.
Forgiveness. Yeah. Yes, exactly, which I thought was so good.
I think that's very true for narcissistic people, for sure. They're like, I confessed. Now it's your turn. What did you do wrong? And you're like, they're like, I feel better because I confessed. They're like, I don't understand. I said sorry. Because if you're still upset about it because they haven't made it right or something or done it again.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm still upset. And they're like, why? I admitted that I did it. And you're like, yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't very much about Sybil's feelings. It was more than about, I feel better now that I acknowledge that I did something bad.
Yes, exactly.
So then Lord Henry comes over, and Dorian is like, oh hey, like kind of doesn't want to see him because he realizes Lord Henry's not a great influence on him.
Yeah.
And Lord Henry's like, did you get my letter? And he's like, oh yeah, I haven't opened it yet. And Lord Henry's like, oh well, Sybil Vane is dead. And Dorian is like, what? And he's like, yeah, she killed herself. She like drank poison last night. Do you know why? And Dorian's like, oh my God. He's like, I killed Sybil. Like he's freaking out about it.
Horrible. And he did not freak out nearly as much as he
because he like freaks out for a second, and then he's like, that's sad.
He's like,
because Lord Henry kind of gets it in his head that like, oh, it's actually a very tragic and romantic way for her to go out. He's like, she wasn't going to amount to anything anyway. He's like, so this is actually pretty cool that, you know, this is the way she went out. It's pretty
so upsetting.
Pretty
and
good.
Then he's like, actually, this didn't turn out too bad. It's sad, but like I'm free. So
yeah, he's like, well, I guess that's well. And he was like, Lord Henry was like, yeah, you know, she was still playing a part. There was no real Sybil Vane. She was just an actress. Like everything about her was fake. And it was like, what the hell? And so then anyway, Dorian is like, oh, okay, I guess you're right. And then Lord Henry's like, yeah, you want to go to the opera tonight? And Dorian's like, okay.
Dude, for real, no morning. And so then Basil says something like the next day, he's like, they told me you were at the opera, and I knew that couldn't be true because after, you know, the love of your life just died, I knew for sure you wouldn't be there, but I came here and you weren't here. And he's like, no, I was at the opera. It was great. So-and-so performed quite well. And you're like, what the hell?
Yeah. Oh, it's terrible. And yeah, that was a big turning point for Dorian. I was surprised that he he seemed to have one. He had it one before, like where he was like, oh, now I'm going to be good. But then he immediately changed it to, no, I'm going to just double down and be terrible.
Yeah, he's like, it's okay. The portrait will take it all for me. Here's what I'm thinking though. If I magicked in myself into like a switching, like where my portrait ages and I don't, if I like, got that situation, I would still not be like, I'll just do all the bad things now. I don't understand why he did that. I would just be like, cool, I'll stay looking young and pretty and still be a relatively nice person.
Well, I think he was thinking like, now I can get away with more stuff because nothing about, because he has all the appearance of being like really good is kind of what they were saying. Like there was one line where it was like talking about how people who do really bad things, you can kind of tell like based on like their appearance.
Yeah.
Like their face.
But
like
I still wouldn't, if I had the opportunity to do bad things and get away with it because my portrait would like catch it all, I would still not do it. I don't understand.
Well, that's because you're a good person and Dorian's not a good person.
He's so not a good person.
So, yeah, Dorian just decides, you know what? Actually, I don't really care if my painting gets all the bad stuff. I'm just going to put it up in the attic, or not the attic, his old schoolroom. So nobody will know.
Behind a drape.
Yes, he's like, I'm going to hide it so nobody will know. And then I'll just keep living my life.
Yeah, do whatever I want to do.
Yeah. And so then there's kind of like a very long like period of like, then basically he just keeps aging and there's not a lot of plot in this part. It's kind of just him getting older and then
developing a reputation for being a d-bag.
Yeah, he kind of become, there's like, people are like, why does Dorian suck? Maybe Dorian sucks.
Yeah, that's true. So then like some people just won't associate with him anymore at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he becomes such a prick. So, so, but he still looks young and hot. And so anyway,
that's what matters most.
That's the most important thing. So then a very upsetting thing happens, and it is that Basil is like looking around for him. And Dorian comes home and he's like, oh, hey, what's up? And Basil's like, well, I'm leaving to go to France. But I kind of wanted to talk to you because I just really feel like I should let you know a lot of people have been saying bad stuff about you. And he's like, I don't feel like all of it can be true. Surely not. You're Dorian. And he's like, so I just thought maybe you shouldn't be hanging out with the people you're hanging out with. Like, basically, like, why are you being a jerk?
Yeah.
And Dorian is like, okay, mister. And he's like kind of very defensive about it.
Oh, yeah.
And so Basil ends up like asking about the painting, I think. And Dorian is like, oh, you want to see the painting? Oh, you want to see the painting? The painting you did of me? And he's totally like, yeah.
So he's like, yeah, that'd be great. I made it.
Schoolroom. Yeah. And Dorian shows it to him. And Basil's like, that cannot be the same one I did of you. What is wrong with it? Like, he's like, I don't understand.
Yeah. And then Dorian's like, yeah, you did this to me. This is your fault. My life is your fault. And you're like, what?
Yeah, I know. And he's like, remember what I said that when he first gave it to me about what if the painting could take on all my bad stuff? And he's like, oh my God. He's like, did that really happen? And he's like, yeah, it did. And he's like, and it's your fault.
It's your fault that I'm the way I am now because you painted me.
Which is so not true. And so Basil is like, I was like, oh my God, Basil. He was like, Dorian, it's not too late. Like, this is really bad, but you can turn it around. Like, let's ask for forgiveness. He's like, let's pray.
Let's pray. Yeah.
So kind. And Dorian was like, no. And then Dorian stabs him to death.
I did not expect this.
I did not either. I was shocked.
I was like, you just killed the one good person in this.
I know. Book. Like Sybil's dead and now Basil's dead. And I'm like, okay, everyone else
the only terrible. 2 pure people died.
Yeah. I was so upset. And so then Dorian, this was like the worst because Dorian was so cold about it too. He stabs him and then he's like, okay. And he just like leaves.
Yeah.
And then he calls his friend
a way to get rid of the body.
Yeah. Like no remorse.
Yeah.
He calls his friend to like come deal with it. And then he ends up blackmailing that guy.
The hand on the painting turns red though.
Oh, right. I forgot.
Yeah.
The painting, the like ugly, disgusting painting. Yeah. His hand turns red with blood. So can't hide now, buddy. And so this guy comes and gets rid of the body.
Mm-hmm. He like blackmails him into it somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is great. Let's really double down again, Dorian.
Yeah.
How do you think he did this? Did he like chop him up?
I'm thinking he probably chopped him up.
Which, yeah, I'm thinking so too, because how else would he get him like out of the house? Which I hated. But anyway.
Yeah.
Poor Basil.
It's very upsetting.
But Dorian is thinking like, hey, Basil was going to go to France, so nobody's going to miss him for a couple months at least.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm pretty much in the clear. And then just like doesn't care about him anymore. And then, anyway, then Lord Henry and Dorian hang out some more, and Dorian goes to an opium den.
Uh-huh.
And when he comes out, James Vane is there. And he's like, brother. Yes, and it's been a long time. And he
20
had like
years or something.
Yeah. And he was like, I know who you are, and I'm gonna kill you because you hurt my sister, Sybil. And Dorian's like, oh shit. But then Dorian's like, wait, he's like, I can't be the same guy you're talking of. Like, look
how
at
young
me.
I am.
Yeah. He's like, when did this happen? Like 18 years ago? It couldn't have been me. And James is like, oh, I'm so sorry. You're so right. James is like, yeah, it couldn't have been you.
Mad. I was like, you so deserve to get murdered right now.
I know. But then Dorian leaves, and then this lady is like, what are you talking about? That is Dorian Gray.
Yeah, she's like, you don't know about Dorian Gray, the never aging man-child? That's him.
And James is like, oh my God. So then Dorian's kind of paranoid after this, and he keeps like seeing James around, like, and he's like, oh my God, I'm gonna get killed. Yeah. So then there's a part where Lord Henry and Dorian are out hunting. Like there's a big hunting party happening. Uh-huh. And somebody accidentally gets shot during the hunting. And Dorian is like, oh my God. Like he's kind of freaking out. Like he's really frazzled by it. And Lord Henry's like, oh, it's none of our business. And Dorian is like, oh, I just feel like it could happen to me at any time. And Lord Henry's like, okay. Yeah. But then he gets off the hook again because he finds out the guy who got shot was James Vane. So James was like stalking him, clearly going to kill him. And then he got killed. And so now Dorian's like, yes, like he rides away like crying tears of relief.
He's so like, happy.
He's like so stoked.
So upsetting.
He sucks so bad.
He sucks like the worst. And Dorian Gray does not get enough credit as a truly horrible villain.
He's a villain.
He's a straight villain.
He was worse than I thought he'd be, honestly.
Same.
And then
he's in the hate squad.
Oh, he's terrible. Yeah. And then something happens where, anyway, this is kind of winding it down. Dorian goes back and he's kind of like he's just like tired of everything. He's like, I hate living, like everything sucks. He's like, but he's also like so selfish, Oh, he had like kind of seduced this girl out in the country because he was like, I'm gonna be a better person now. Yeah, he was like living out in the country, but then he was like, oh, I don't really want to get her involved with me because I'm bad. He's like, so I'm just gonna leave her cold turkey. And then he told
that's a good thing to do.
Yeah, then he tells Lord Henry about it. He's like, look at this good thing I did. And Lord Henry's like, that's not really a good thing.
Oh my gosh.
And he's like, okay, well. And then he kind of has this thing like, wait, am I only trying to do this because of my own vanity? Like he's like, I guess my intentions aren't really pure. Yeah. He's like, because he was thinking, now that I'm being good, my painting is going to go back to normal. But of course it didn't. It got worse.
You can't undo things.
I know. And so then he gets so upset. He's like, I hate this for me. He's like,
I hate this for me.
I hate this for me. Why is my painting so ugly? And so he gets a knife and he's like, I'm just gonna get rid of this thing. He's like, why do I even have it around anymore? He gets a knife and stabs a painting. And then everybody in the house like hears this scream and they're like, what's going on? So people eventually end up going up there. The painting looks exactly like it did when Basil first did it. It's perfect. And this old disgusting man is lying on the floor bleeding to death out of a stab wound to his heart. And that's the end of the book.
It was like the best wrap-up ending.
It was like the best ending ever. I screamed.
That was, and I didn't see it coming. I feel like I should have seen that coming, but I didn't see that coming.
I totally thought he was going to get killed by James Vane, and then he died, and I was like, I guess Dorian's just going to get away with it. And I was like, yes.
This was so much more fitting. I'm so glad. It was so good.
It was so good.
Yeah, I loved it. This was a
Great
good
ending.
book, and it was relatively short.
Yeah.
Which I love. Who is your favorite character in this book?
Basil.
Yeah,
It's gotta be Basil.
Because I was asking, I was like, hang on, there are no options.
Nobody.
Nobody. Everyone sucks. What was your favorite and least favorite part of the book?
Okay.
Oh,
I know what I just said. Basil is my favorite character, but my favorite part of the book is when Dorian kills Basil.
that was tied with my least favorite part of the book between when he is so cruel to Sybil and when he kills Basil.
Yeah. And I
not least favorite for the craft, least favorite because my heart was breaking.
Right. No, it's so sad. Like I was very sad reading it because Basil's the best character, but I was kind of like jazzed because it was so villainous that I was like, oh, this is delicious. Like I had no idea he was gonna turn this bad.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of fun to read too, because I was like, oh, now there's no going back. It's like unredeemable at this point, you know.
I loved it. Yeah.
That was kind of fun. But my least favorite part was whenever they went to the play and it was terrible. Because I hate it when like characters like are like, no, I promise it was different.
It was different.
So awkward. I was like,
God.
Oh God.
That part was really, really uncomfortable. You just felt, but I was so furious with the way he handled it. I was like,
oh yeah, that was terrible
the least
too.
favorite part. I think the favorite part was the way he died. I was like,
yes,
beautiful.
That was also one of my favorite parts for sure.
That was excellent.
And it was just in the last paragraph too.
I know.
It was crazy.
It was super. What about did you do your least favorite part?
Yeah, when they went to the play.
When they went to play. Oh, that's right. That's what it was. What about your favorite quote?
Okay, this is so hard because every single quote in this book is good.
Yeah.
Like there are so many things that are just either like really witty or like
3.
really funny or like really poignant. Like there's so many. Yeah, I wrote 3 too. Can we just say all 3 of ours?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So we might have overlap. I don't know. On page 21, I think this one is kind of a popular quote. So it's like when Lord Henry he's talking to Dorian about, this is like the first time I think they're really talking. And it's kind of fun because I love this quote, but when you're taking it in context, it has like a different meaning than out of context.
Yeah, that's
just
very
knowing
true
Lord Henry
stuff.
Yeah. So it's live the wonderful life that is in you. Let nothing be lost upon you. Be always searching for new sensations. Be afraid of nothing. Ooh. Which is a great quote. Like it's so inspirational. But then when you hear Lord Henry saying it in the context, you're like,
this seems like bad advice. I'm intentionally corrupting this youth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's such a good quote. And then my next one is, both of these are very close to the end. On page 171, Lord Henry is saying, he's talking to Dorian. Ouch. And he said, to get back my youth, I would do anything in the world except take exercise, get up early, or be respectable.
I love that quote. That's so hilarious.
Funny. It's so funny.
That is such a good quote.
It's really good. And then on page 172, I just love the way that this sounds. I am so glad that you have never done anything, never carved a statue or painted a picture or produced anything outside of yourself. Life has been your art. You have set yourself to music. Your days are your sonnets. Like, damn.
That's beautiful.
It's really good. I wish I could write.
That's so, I know. To write like Oscar Wilde would be just insane. I feel like I couldn't do it without just sounding pretentious, like I was trying to be like him.
Yeah. See, that's the trick.
Yeah. So my quote, my first quote is on page 13. It's a conversation between what's his face? Harry and Basil. So basically Harry is saying like, oh yeah, my aunt was talking about Dorian Gray. And then he says, I wish I had known it was your friend. And Basil says, I'm very glad you didn't, Harry. Why? I don't want you to meet him. You don't want me to meet him. No. Mr. Dorian Gray is in the studio, sir, said the butler coming into the garden, which was just like, it's just like 3 lines of like just dialogue. And then coming into the studio,
so
sir.
funny.
I was just like, and that's the kind of hysterical timing that is just in the importance of being earnest, like comedic timing that is written into the book.
Yes.
So good. Here's another one that was funny. It's on page 14, the next page. He's basically saying that Dorian is saying that he and Lady Agatha will have to like play a duet or something the next time they see each other. He says, we were to have played a duet together, 3 duets, I believe. I don't know what she will say to me. I am far too frightened to call. And then Harry says, oh, I will make your peace with my aunt. She is quite devoted to you. And I don't think it really matters about your not being there. The audience probably thought it was a duet. When Aunt Agatha sits down to the piano, she makes quite enough noise for 2 people. I was like, wow, ow, it's mean.
I remember laughing at that one.
Yeah, I laughed out loud at that one. And then let's see, on 73, I picked one. I think this one's less funny. I put on love in my notes, so I don't know. Oh, this is interesting. I think this is not always true all the time, but I think this does tend to be true. And usually in a relationship, one person fits this more than the other. I think it tends to be women. So anyways, women treat us just as humanity treats its gods. They worship us and are always bothering us to do something for them. I should have said that whatever they ask for, they had first given to us, murmured the lad gravely. They create love in our natures. They have a right to demand it back. That is quite true, Dorian, cried Hallward. Nothing is ever quite true, said Lord Henry. I thought that was interesting, like that women treat us just as humanity treats its gods. They worship us and are always bothering us to do something for them. And then this is like talking about it's when Dorian is still a good person, talking about Sybil. He says, I should have said that whatever they ask for, whatever women ask for, they had first given to us. They create love in our natures. They have a right to demand it back. Basically saying that like it's very easy for women, I feel like, especially to love much more than they are loved in return. Like maybe they like, I think it's so easy to like lose yourself in loving someone and you just hope so desperately to get that same amount of love back, but that's not always the case. I mean, I think that's probably true in most relationships, and it does, while it could be true of anyone, I think it is often true of women. We tend to devote ourselves without any assurance that the love is going to be returned. We just are hoping that they'll give it back too.
It's kind of true.
It's very true. Yeah. So I was like, that's a really, really smart intellectual quote. Those are all my quotes. I should have done that one first because it was a little bit more sad than my other ones. But
I have a question for you, and it is, what do you think the significance is of the painting being kept in the room that he used to like go to school in? I think that there's got to be something beyond it just being like that's like that place represents youth, but then the painting and innocence, but the painting is like disgusting and warped now. Like there's a lot to that, I think. But there's also other stuff like
the surface level one is definitely that was like a room for innocence, and now it's been like, you know, corrupted by like the antithesis of his innocence. So I feel like that's definitely part of it. There's got to be so much to that metaphor. Oh my, or to that symbolism.
There's a lot in this book that I just really want to write an essay on, you know? I can't believe I never got to read this book in school, because now I'm like itching to write an essay on it.
Yeah, this is a great book for essays.
Reading this book, I was like, whoa, because I took a class on uncanny literature, like the elements of the uncanny. And I'm like, this fits it to a T. Like there are so many elements of the uncanny in this book that's what kind of gives it like that uneasy, like supernatural, like this is weird, but like you're supposed to learn something from it kind of vibe. Like the return of the repressed, like that's one of the elements of the uncanny, where it's like that's what makes it uneasy, like when you put something away but it keeps coming back. So it's like Dorian, obviously that's what the painting, like he just like he puts away all of his bad stuff, but it kind of keeps coming back and like bothering him. But then there's also the like James Vane, he could represent that, because he thought he was done with Sybil, like he put that behind him years ago, and then he comes back and like kind of haunts him. It's just so good.
That
and
is
like
so good.
There's a lot of like really cool things that I'm just like, I need to write an essay on it now.
I love it. It could also be like, with it being in the schoolroom, is like instead, like, you know, a schoolroom is like a place for like learning and bettering yourself, but he's kind of just stopped doing that. He let like basically Lord Henry like influence and teach him once, and never again did he try and better himself as a student of anything.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Let his own self-interest be his teacher and Lord Henry or whatever. And that was, or Lord Harry. I keep probably saying his name wrong. And
I think they call him Harry sometimes.
Yeah. So whatever his name is. But
that guy.
That guy.
Yeah.
That douche canoe. Is he as bad as Dorian? No. Is he good? Also very much no.
No.
Would he cover up a murder?
Was kind of like,
probably.
He might, but even he seemed to be kind of like,
Dorian's kicking this too far.
Yeah, like at the end when Dorian was like, "What if I murdered Basil?" And Henry was like, "No, you would never do that. You would never." Like,
I know. I don't think what's his face would murder anyone.
I don't think so either. I think he's just kind of like a gadabout, like
gadabout. That's exactly it. I feel like Oscar Wilde was a bit of a gadabout. I mean, because so many of his characters are like, Algernon certainly is, but in a much more benign way. But he definitely, even Algernon tries to be the influencing character on Ernest, like the other character that he's besties with. So there's also like showing so many parallels, themes of male friendship, and like one being the primary influencer of another.
Yeah,
it's so interesting. And one of them starts out with like way more like gray morals than the other one. Yeah, that's so funny. Now I want to watch The Importance of Being Earnest.
It's very interesting. I'm sure people have written so many essays about
probably
Oscar's life, and
I certainly think so. What lessons did we learn from this book?
Never.
Don't make a wish in front of a painting of you. You never know. It could come true.
You never know.
What if it hears you?
Don't mix your friend groups. You know, if you've got a friend from college, don't introduce him to your new muse. It never works out.
No. I guess don't ever cut apart or stab a picture of you, because what if it's the one picture that for some reason your soul is attached to, and you just like chop it up in scissors and then you just die?
I mean, after this, I'm never taking that chance, you know?
You're just not going to get a picture ever again.
I'm never getting
Never let anyone take your picture. Never sit for a portrait. That's the ultimate what we learned. Portraits are dangerous.
Portraits are dangerous. That's the main thing I think Oscar wanted us to think about.
I think that's what he wanted us to learn for sure. He's rolling over in his grave. It's like, God, no. Oh, God. I think he would think that's funny, actually. Glib. That's the word I was looking for. He's so glib.
Glib. There we go. That's good.
He's glib. How many pinkies would you give this book?
I give this book, I really, really liked it. Like, as soon as I started reading it, I was like, yes, I'm into this, you know?
I know.
Just like the back and forth. I think I'm going to give it, I'm stuck between 4.5 and 5.
Oh, I was thinking I was going to say 4.75 for
That's
mine.
what I was thinking. 4.75. 4.75. I just don't know if it's exactly a 5 pinky book for me, but it was so high, you know, it was really, really good.
It was definitely higher than a 4.
Yeah.
Probably higher than a 4.5, but I don't know if it was a 5, because there were a few parts where I was like trying to like skip through.
Yeah, me too. Exactly. Yeah. But I'm going to give it 4.75.
4.75 pinkies up. So nice. I think we covered this book. Good for us. This book was short and fantastic. And the next book we're doing is not short at all.
It's not.
Okay, you guys, I thought Jane Eyre was much shorter than it is.
Oh, no,
it is not. If it was within reach, I would show you. It's like this.
I think I've got it somewhere.
Can you reach it with all the books on your lap?
No, I'm like balancing them.
It's a thick book. Anyways,
she's thick, yeah.
She's thick. If you want a classic to read that's not going to take up a million years, Picture of Dorian Gray. If you're down for a longer classic, go read Jane Eyre, because that's what we're going to be talking about next episode. Super excited.
It is very good. I'm
already into it. Yeah.
Yes, I was telling the listeners. I don't know. I like it, but
Yeah.
Maybe if you don't like it.
I mean, I'm enjoying it.
We'll
so
decide.
far.
We'll decide.
I'm only like 3 chapters in so far. It's really
It picks up, I
long.
promise.
No, it's not. It doesn't even start that slow. It's just like, oh, it's just a long book. But I got a really pretty copy of it. So I definitely like it.
It is pretty nice.
It's motivating. That's
And-
motivating.
And we're going to have a special guest also.
Oh, I almost forgot. We are having a special, you guys. We're doing 2 special guest episodes.
We might be having 2 special guests. I will talk to you.
What is happening?
Basically, it's the return of the repress
mixing
for
things
Kendall's
up.
college experience. Kendall's college friends are coming to talk about Jane Eyre.
That's hilarious.
But
I'm so
it'll be
down.
Great. It's
This
going
will
to
be a
be so
good
fun.
time. So join us for our special guest episode of Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. Right?
Yeah.
I was like, hang on, am I wrong?
No, you're right.
It's not often
One of those
I ask myself
Brontes.
that. One of the Brontes. Yeah. Until then, follow us on Instagram. Oh, should we announce the winner of the giveaway? You guys,
we should.
our
I keep
300
forgetting.
follower giveaway is complete. It has been complete.
Yes, sorry,
we are
everyone.
now at almost 400 followers. We are not doing a giveaway for 400, but we are doing a giveaway for 500. So follow us, tell your friends to follow us, because when we get to 500 followers, we're going to do a really good giveaway, and we're getting really good at these giveaways. I will post a video of all the fun stuff that's going into this giveaway, so you can bet that the next one is going to be even cooler because we're getting progressively better at these. So the winner of this giveaway, the Shakespeare themed one, is
Instagram user Shadowlion60713. I believe your name is Katie.
Katie. Congratulations, Shadow Lion. Woo! So we will get your information to send your basket. Hopefully I will be able to put it together this week. It is very cool. I have some stuff that's going into it that's like sitting like right over here.
Yeah, it's gonna be so good. And I also just ordered one last thing for it. So
it might be a little bit longer before you get it.
No. It'll come in tomorrow.
I'll
bring your stuff tomorrow.
Excellent. Yeah. Okay. You guys, this is going to be great. It'll be great. I'll post a video. Congratulations to Katie. If you guys want to enter a giveaway, help us get to 500 followers on Instagram, because we are already almost there.
Yeah.
We got a lot of followers
at 400 basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're just about 400. So follow. If you guys don't mind rating the podcast, if you like it, that would be great. And I think that's all I got. If you guys want to chat about books or some other nonsense, always hit us up. We love a DM. Slide into our DMs. You're welcome to anytime.
Slide into them.
Slide into them. There's plenty of room. So
room for all in the DMs.
Room for all. Or you can email us at contact@thatpretentiousbookclub.com. Oh, if you want to check out our merch, it is on thatpretentiousbookclub.com. Also, there's many things besides this. We've got notebooks, laptop cases, t-shirts, and many, many things. It's a fun place to be. That's also where we upload our podcast. So if for some reason your normal podcast app is acting up, you can always just go to our website and check it out there. I think that's all I got.
I think that's it.
Awesome.
Yay!
Well, until next week, everybody, keep your teacup full.
Your pinky's high.
And your book club.
Pretentious.
Yay! Goodbye, everybody.